Barbara Jankavski, a Brazilian influencer known online as Boneca Desumana, which translates roughly to inhuman doll, lived a life that was as extraordinary as it was tragic. To her followers, she was a captivating mix of fantasy and reality, a woman who seemed to exist somewhere between the human and the plastic. With her surgically refined features, platinum blonde hair, and porcelain-like skin, she became a figure of fascination and controversy on social media. But behind that flawless exterior was a complex woman whose relentless pursuit of perfection would ultimately end in a heartbreaking mystery that stunned Brazil and the global influencer community. Born in Curitiba, Brazil, Barbara grew up in an ordinary middle-class family. Those who knew her during her teenage years remember a shy girl, quiet but deeply curious about beauty, style, and fame. She spent hours flipping through fashion magazines and idolized celebrities who looked unreal, as she would often say. Her fascination with transformation began early. Friends recalled that even as a teenager, she would experiment with makeup techniques to reshape her face, contouring her nose and jawline to achieve the illusion of doll-like symmetry. She dreamed of one day becoming someone the world would look at and not forget, even if it meant altering herself completely. By her early 20s, Barbara had already started her journey into the world of cosmetic enhancement. Her first procedure, a rhinoplasty, was small compared to what would follow. Yet for her, it was life-changing. The surgery, she once said in an old live stream, gave her a sense of control, as if she could mold her identity into whatever she wanted. "I didn't want to look like anyone else," she told her followers. "I wanted to look like the best version of me. Something perfect. Something not human." That statement would later define her entire online persona. Over the years, Barbara underwent dozens of cosmetic surgeries, facelifts, lip fillers, jawline contouring, breast augmentation, liposuction, and even body sculpting to exaggerate the proportions she believed made her unique. The transformation was so drastic that her appearance began to blur the line between human and doll-like artificiality. That's how the nickname Boneca Desumana, the inhuman doll, was born. To some, it was a compliment, a mark of her commitment to aesthetic perfection. To others, it was a warning of how far she had gone in pursuit of an impossible ideal. Social media became both her stage and her sanctuary. On Instagram, she posted glamorous photo shoots, flaunting her sharp features and tiny waist. On TikTok, her videos often featured her adjusting her hair, showing off her flawless skin, or speaking candidly about her latest cosmetic procedures. Her openness about plastic surgery earned her both admiration and criticism. While many praised her honesty and boldness, others accused her of promoting dangerous beauty standards. Yet Barbara didn't seem to mind. "People talk because they can't understand," she said in one video. "This is my art. My body is my canvas." Her following grew steadily, more than 55,000 people on Instagram and 344,000 on TikTok, a community that was drawn to her fearless transparency. She became somewhat of a cult figure among fans of extreme beauty modification, but fame, as it often does, came with a darker side. Behind the filters and the confident captions, Barbara battled the silent pressures of maintaining her image. Those close to her said she was meticulous about every photo, every appearance, every surgery consultation. She wanted to be remembered, a friend once told a Brazilian outlet, not as a regular influencer, but as a living piece of art. In June, just months before her death, Barbara underwent a facelift, one of her most talked-about procedures. She shared the journey online, documenting her recovery process and reassuring her followers that she was doing well. In her videos, she appeared upbeat, smiling despite the visible swelling and bruising. "Beauty is pain," she said, laughing lightly in one clip. "But pain fades. What stays is the version of yourself that you always dreamed of." That phrase, though meant to inspire, would later haunt her fans. By October, Barbara seemed less active on social media. Her last known post, shared on October 1st, featured her with fellow influencer A Voz da Razão in a lighthearted video. It was playful, vibrant, and full of her usual charm. Nobody could have guessed that it would be her final public appearance. After that, silence, No stories, no posts, no replies. An unusual disappearance for someone who lived so visibly online. Some followers speculated she was recovering from another surgery or taking a mental health break. Others worried something was wrong. On November 2nd, the news broke. Barbara Jankavski had been found dead in a townhouse in São Paulo. She was only 31 years old. According to a police report obtained by CNN Brazil, Barbara had been with a 51-year-old public defender named Renato Campos Pinto de Vito on the night of her death. De Vito reportedly told authorities that he had hired her for sexual services and that the two had consumed illicit substances together. He said that after a while, Barbara appeared tired and fell asleep, but when he tried to wake her later, she wasn't moving. Panicked, he called the mobile emergency care service and claimed to have attempted resuscitation for 9 minutes before paramedics arrived. When medical personnel got to the scene, it was too late. Barbara was declared dead. The São Paulo State Military Police, upon arriving, discovered her body partially unclothed, wearing only underwear, with visible injuries, including a bruise near her left eye and marks along her back. The sight painted a disturbing picture, one that raised more questions than answers. Was it an accidental overdose? A violent altercation? Or something else entirely? De Vito, in his statement, insisted there had been no violence, claiming the injury on her face was pre-existing. CNN Brazil later reported that one of Barbara's friends told police she had recently fallen and hit her face, which could explain the bruising. Still, the scene left investigators unsettled. The São Paulo Public Security Secretariat requested both an autopsy and toxicology tests to determine the cause of death, officially registering the case as a suspicious death. The days that followed were filled with speculation, confusion, and grief. Online, her fans flooded her social media pages with comments expressing disbelief and sorrow. "I can't believe she's gone," one user wrote. "She was like a real-life doll, but she had such a sweet heart." Another comment read, "You were too beautiful for this world, Barbara. Rest in peace, my Barbie." Thousands of messages poured in, some from followers, others from fellow influencers and Brazilian celebrities who had admired her for her uniqueness. As details emerged, a troubling narrative began to take shape. Rumors swirled that Barbara had struggled privately with anxiety and self-esteem issues despite her confident online persona. A close friend reportedly told local media that Barbara had been under immense emotional strain in the weeks before her death, facing pressure from both personal relationships and the expectations of her online audience. She wanted love, real love, the friend said, but people only saw her as a fantasy, not as a person. Her death reignited national conversations about the toll of beauty obsession and the mental health struggles that often accompany social media fame. Psychologists in Brazil and beyond discussed her case as a tragic reflection of a culture that idolizes perfection. One Brazilian psychiatrist, interviewed by Folha de São Paulo, commented, "When someone's identity becomes completely tied to an image they must constantly maintain, any crack in that image can feel like the end of the world."